Hey guys, it is day 107. It is 72 degrees out here today, but it feels a whole lot hotter. Today I am rocking the Adidas Gill Zero Restomods. Here they are from the side, and here it is from the other side. So Restomod, if you're not aware of it, it's a car term kind of geared towards hot rods, and it stands for restored and modified. So Adidas took the original shoe from Gilbert Arenas, and that was released back in 2006, and then released this restored and modified version, I think in 2022. This shoe is kind of uncommon because at the time that the original design was released, the majority of shoes on the market for basketball were all very lengthy high tops. So while this certainly wasn't the first low top in basketball, it is one of the earliest takes on modern low tops. Now, what is supposedly been altered in this shoe is the cushioning. Virtually everything else is supposed to be unchanged. However, I can't verify that because I don't have that original shoe. Now, the shoe is supposed to feature 4Motion technology for stability. These little pods, it's a gimmick. It's just like Nike Shox. But interestingly enough, I don't have a pair of Nike Shox yet, although I do plan to remedy that in the future. But from everything I've heard, it's pretty much a gimmick. Now, the heel of this shoe is supposed to be replaced with a boost, little puck of boost, foam in there. Unfortunately, that's not doing much good in here. I think the boost foam has been caged too much, way too much. I think what drew me to this shoe was definitely the look of the upper. That glossy material and the mix of the different materials on the upper, it just looked really, really premium, looked really nice. And the idea of mixing some premium level foam and modern foam with those uppers is a fantastic idea. Unfortunately, I think it was just implemented poorly, because the final result of this shoe doesn't feel much better than most standard EVAs from the past. I still think there's value in this shoe. If you were a Gilbert Arenas fan, back in the day, then you would want this shoe because essentially it's kind of should feel ideally around the same. I say that with an asterisk because I've not worn that first pair. So to get a re-release of a shoe that you probably were never really expecting to see ever again, it'd be really cool. For me, it's kind of like maybe the prospect of someone releasing a John Wall signature again, It's just kind of a random shoe out there. Now, I saw a bunch of these, in fact, at Ross Dress for Less, and there were like 3 or 4 different colorways. This particular colorway was not in the store, but what drew me to the shoe was actually that orange and blue one. It's pretty wild looking, but I was just drawn to it. I did not pick it up at the time, and for whatever reason, I just kept thinking about it, and it would not leave me alone. And then one day I was like, I gotta find that shoe, and I came across these and I went for them. I'm glad that I did, because ultimately I think these have more of a neutral profile that can fit with more things, but they look really clean, they look nice. But that orange and blue pair, I'll always keep my eye out for that one, and if I find a good deal, I'll snag it up. Now, I kind of wondered why all these shoes were there in Ross, like a ton of these things. And I think when it comes down to it, Gilbert Arenas as a player was a great player, but he wasn't like the league's premier marquee player that they were pushing. He's kind of like one of the Avengers, not like the main guy, but he's just like one of the Avengers. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it's not going to sell like a ton of shoes in comparison to the league's marquee players. The other thing is, these shoes are, the retro, which, people are always kind of into retro, but these are kind of flashy retro. They're really flashy, they're really bright, and a lot of the stuff stuff that I'm noticing younger people wear today are kind of muted tones, and they're definitely into retro stuff, but I don't see as much flash, honestly. Another thing is these were initially released for $140 or $150, and for that money at the time, you could get a lot more performance features within a shoe rather than a nod to the past. Something else that didn't help is Gilbert Arenas can be a very divisive personality. Not that I disagree with anything he's saying or anything. It's just that when you become a podcaster or a commentator on different things and you're giving your opinion on stuff, you are going to alienate some people. It's just inevitable. You can't help it. It's just, it is what it is. And so when you think about Jordan, he always talked about, like something I remember him saying in a quote or something was that Republicans buy shoes too, or Democrats buy shoes too. And I think he's always played it smart from a business sense to appeal to the mass market rather than to alienate himself. And Gilbert Arenas, I don't know his political affiliation at all. I don't give a crap about any of that. It's just when you give your opinions on basketball related stuff, you're going to alienate some people no matter who you are. He also has more of a no-nonsense, serious personality that can be more abrasive, kind of much like my own. Whereas someone like Charles Barkley, who gives his opinion all the time, also kind of balances it out with some funny behavior, funny jokes, stuff like that. And so, personality is going to either hurt or help when it comes to buying shoes, or selling shoes. Because let's face it, when it comes to supporting an athlete, we don't want to support an asshole, Like if you had Grayson Allen and he had his own signature shoe, I don't care if it was the best shoe on earth. Like if it had the best performance features on earth, I would never wear that freaking thing just because of the way he plays. And the final reason I don't think these sold that well, because they were in Ross Dress for Less for I think of like 30 or 40 bucks. It's because of the fit. The fit is not great, guys. This is a size 11, and I am so glad I went up half a size, because I stuck my foot in here and my toe is right up against the toe box. If I had went my normal size, my toes would be scrunched up in there really bad. Even in the shoe that is 1/2 size bigger, and I don't have that big of a foot, slightly wide, I'd go to crank the laces, and then when I get to the top, I don't have enough to actually tie the laces. So then I go and try to crank them down a little bit more just to get enough lace to tie the things, and I barely manage it with the shoe feeling tight over the midfoot, right? And you would think, cool. But then when you start to move, I notice a little heel slip. Despite all of that, despite cranking the laces. And I usually always double knot my laces, because if I'm playing basketball, I do not want to have to bend down and tie my shoes. I do, I'll shoot all day, but please don't make me bend down and tie my shoes. But on this pair, I was only able to get a single knot simply because the laces aren't long enough. Just a couple more inches, guys. That's what she said. Well, I said that was the final reason, but I kind of lied because I kind of forgot about the main thing. As soon as I started walking, I just realized they're pretty stiff, guys. Like, who really wants to walk around in a stiff shoe? And I don't mean like you can't flex it. I'm sure you can. I'm talking about when your foot hits the ground, you feel that impact coming up to your knees and the rest of your joints. It's not pleasant. It's just, it's a very stiff ride. I'm not going to call them rocks because they don't feel as bad as like Nike Air Max crap, but these things don't feel great. If I were to talk about the positive things of this shoe, it would mainly just be they look cool, in my opinion, and they are stable. It feels like a very stable shoe. Despite Gilbert Arenas' position of guard, this shoe feels to me like a very linear shoe. Like if you're just walking casually, you can feel the heel have a little bit more of a cushion and a little bit more of a height than the forefoot. And so you get this forward motion, in your stride. But as I'm walking on kind of uneven terrain at times, I can feel the foot kind of shift side to side. It's not as side to side, the lateral movement in terms of that stability. I don't feel that, but it is a wide shoe, so it would probably be okay. But I'm just letting you know, it feels good front to back. But side to side, I don't know about this shoe. I do see some flanges there in the white on the inside of the foot there at the forefoot, and that does help to keep it stable. If you're doing a push off from that, that should be okay. From the outside, I'm not really seeing anything there to kind of contain you other than this little cage here at the midfoot. I don't think that it's a horrible shoe by any means. I just don't think it's performance basketball of today. We've had a lot of innovation since then. We obviously have shoes that contain better and feel better, cushion and protect better, but the Gill Zero still has its place in history.